Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to Allah Loves. So, last episode we talked about honor and a sense of protection, and we've talked about strength. So, we're going to tone it down a little bit, but we're going to show how this concept is actually not contradictory. The Prophet ﷺ was one day walking with Aisha, may Allah be pleased with her, and there was a group of people in Medina, a group from the people of the book that yelled out, and they said, Assalamu alaikum, which means may death be upon you, instead of salam. And the Prophet ﷺ said, wa alaikum, and upon you. And the reason why he said that, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, is because if they said salam and they said it really fast, then salam upon you. And if they said sam, which means the opposite of salam, then and it's upon you. But he kept himself composed, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and calm. Aisha radiallahu anha was outraged by the fact that they spoke to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam that way. And so she screamed back at them and she said, wa alaikum as-sam wal la'na, and upon you is the curse of Allah, and upon you is the anger of Allah. And she started to shout back at them. And the Prophet ﷺ told her to calm down, and he said to her that, she said, don't you know what they said? Didn't you hear what they said to you, O Messenger of Allah? He said, didn't you hear what I repeated? And then he said to Aisha radiallahu anha, he said, Inna Allah rafiq yuhibbu rifqa fil amri kulli. Very beautifully, he said that Allah is gentle and Allah loves gentleness in all things. A lot of times when you read the seerah of the Prophet ﷺ, you read it to confirm an attribute that you have, right? So if a person wants to be strong and a person wants to justify their behavior in a context, they go and they take something from the Prophet ﷺ where he demonstrated a sense of anger, a sense of aggressiveness that wasn't common from the Prophet ﷺ, or the opposite of it, right? So anyone that wants to justify any type of engagement or compromise uses Sulh Hudaybiyah, the Treaty of Hudaybiyah. Anyone wants to justify the opposite of that, they'll use another incident, right? But you have to read the seerah honestly. The default of the Prophet ﷺ was that Allah loves gentleness in all of his affairs. And so if the Prophet ﷺ departed from that, it was for good reason. It was to send a very specific message in a specific context. But what does this mean? And how do you compare gentleness? Just as Allah is gentle and Allah is kind, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also has attributes that denote punishment, that denote a sense of anger, right? Depending on the context. That doesn't mean that Allah stops being Rahman and Rahim and Wadud and Ghafoor. That means that there are contexts that determine that type of response. And in this situation, the Prophet ﷺ is saying that the general default is gentleness in all of your affairs. Now, the way that we also understand this and understanding the Sunnah in a holistic way is that you don't have to be loud or aggressive or foul to denote strength. Rather, those things are actually signs of weakness. The Prophet ﷺ's composure in the face of the types of taunts and insults that he received in Mecca and Medina were actually portrayals of strength, that he wasn't going to allow his enemies to get in his head or to drive him away from his principles and his ethics. The Prophet ﷺ speaking in a calm manner, not raising his voice at people to win an argument, not cutting people off, not demonstrating aggression and power, even when the Prophet ﷺ was at the height of his power, was in fact a symbol of strength and a show of strength. So just like Allah Azza wa Jal, despite having all of the authority over all of his creation, yet still showing gentleness and kindness, we too show our greatest strength when we are in positions of power, but we opt for gentleness and kindness, not in a way that would cause injustice to be rampant, but in a way that stops us from becoming unjust or departing from our natural goodness and core. So, Inna Allah rafiq yuhibbu rifqa fil amri kulli. Allah is gentle and Allah loves gentleness in all things. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to place that attribute within us and to allow us to act upon it even when the devil tries to stoke our anger and to cause us to depart from it. Allahumma ameen. Jazakumullahu khairan. See you all next time, inshallah. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.